Hello and welcome back to the EGF Rival Series Championships. You're once again being joined by the Alex duo, the Alex Shinkari Erdenberger and Alex Flabbyman by Lina. We are now casting the game of BU versus StonyBrook. Boston University is going to be represented today by Gehenna and Alba Dogs, and StonyBrook is going to be represented by Moosey. Here we are in the first part of this game, and it looks like Moosey might be playing not what we thought he was going to be playing. He looks like he's playing Miracle Rogue and not Quest Rogue. And amongst all that talking, I forgot to introduce my co-caster. Alex, why don't you say hello?
Hello, everybody. As I said, my name is Alex Flabbyman, and like we were talking about earlier before the cast started, we were expecting a Quest Rogue, which we were now disappointed in, but pretty good opening hand for the Paladin. You know, great 1-drop into coin 3-drop. You know, get the Tide Caller into the War Leader out is a pretty powerful start.
Yep.
So I don't really see how this rogue's gonna deal with that. I mean, he can just drop Shaku on turn 3, but that's not really gonna change the fact that this is gonna get buffed.
Yeah. And I don't really see a better oh, looks like Gehenna might be running a mid-range Paladin here. Looking at that lay on hands.
Yeah. And so, well, you do have the almost clear, because you can hallucinate into Eviscerate.
Yep. And then you do have to spend a
Dawn Hoach, get it.
Do you go greedy? Do you take Grime Streep and Outfitter? Oh no, he's gonna go for Wicker.
You know, so with the choices, Dawn's the troll, you know, meme pick, but
oh yeah. You go big or you go home.
I thought you actually do pick the Outfitter because you have all minions right now, and that's pretty good.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the big thing here is that Moosey picked up Wicker Flame Burn Bristle just because it's a much better turn 4 play than what he has. Right? Yeah. If he plays Shaku, I mean not Shaku, Sharazin. Sure, Sharazin is great on curve, but as it stands right now, he just gets removed and he doesn't really have a way to bring him back.
Yeah. Now
so picking up
drop the Burn Bristle, get a little bit of heal, and kind of trade into the 2/2.
Yep.
Because he doesn't really have anything else. But he tells us that we don't know how to play this game and just put the shares in anyways.
Yep.
Now, turn 5, I'm assuming you just you just dagger with the Wicker Flame?
Yeah. I think that's the best line of play. You want to save Auctioneer for when you have more low-cost spells in your hand. And you also want to save Questing Adventurer for when you have a lot of low-cost spells in your hand as well. Swashbuckler being picked up.
I don't know if that... I think you still just Wicker Flame dagger, because I still don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Swashbuckler does pick up the possibility of picking up a removal spell here. Ooh. All right, so he can dagger... The lines of play here to play Blood Mage Thalnos, or one of his 2-drops, and dagger up, and then trade into the Murloc Tidecaller. The real problem here is that Primal Fin Champion doesn't really do anything, so picking that up off the Swashbuckler is not something Moosey really wants to see here.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
He can't activate
So here's a question. Can he backstab his own Primal Fin Champion, get back the backstab, and then use it again in order to get the play 4 cards on Sharazin? Because that's 3 cards.
If you have backstab, I'm assuming you would get it back. But of these cards, I'm assuming you get the Protector. It's a big 7-mana 6/6 with a couple Divine Shields, which are...
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're going to have Fan of Knives to deal with it, but...
I think that the takeaway here is that Wrathion doesn't have a lot of good targets, so you're really going to draw only 1 card off of him. And having a 4/5 on a board that's going to have a 5/3 back is not very good. And Frostwolf Grunt is never good no matter what.
Let's just forget that. But
the Grime Street Protector has to be the take here. It is the best card out of all 3 of these. And on top of that, like, its Battle Cry is very useful, especially if you have board position later on. And even if it is only 1/1s that you're giving Divine Shield to, you are getting value out of the 7-mana 6/6. Like, it's behind in stats for a reason.
Plus, it's just a non-curve play for the next turn if you so
Right.
desire.
And it looks like Gehenna is going to say that we don't know how to play the game either, so he's just going to go ahead and value the draw more so than the Divine Shield.
Well, also the draw, but it's the on-curve play of the
Right.
6-drop that he doesn't have at the moment, so...
So now let's see. He can't.
He's
Moosey can play.
Wicker Flame.
Could play Questing Adventurer and Wicker Flame. He could also play a Shaku in Wicker Flame. But it looks like Moosey is just going to draw a card to see what he picks up first. Because it might be a backstab into something useful. Gadgets and Auctioneer. Yeah, not really something he wants to see here. So looks like he's just going to set up the Questing Adventurer here, set up to be a 3/3.
A quality Consecrate, which, if needed, can deal with this.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're Gehenna, you want to wait until the Sherazin comes back up just so you have an insured removal on it. And there's a lot of other cards that you want to be using that Equality Consecration on.
Yeah. You could also just Concentration and deal with this entire board. So another option he can choose from. If he feels the Questing Adventure is that much of a problem.
Right, and what Gehenna really has to take the read on here is that Moosey has a lot of cards in his hand that he wants to just throw away and buff up his Questing Adventurer. Doesn't look like he is going to take that read. Looks like he might just play Rathion and draw a card. What's really good about Gehenna's turn 6 and turn 7 is that he's getting through a good amount of his deck, and like having 2 of those Gentle Megasars means that you're getting through a good portion of your deck and still picking up your relevant cards.
Yeah, but
Razor Petal Lasher being picked up for Moosey here.
You could probably now activate Sherazan again. So what? Shaku, Razor Petal.
So what I think the play here is that he's going to play the Lasher and then Vile Spine the 4/5, and then get in with maybe his and then trade away with the Questing Adventurer.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that is a decent line of play that puts a spell in your hand for Gadgets and Auctioneer and also gives you a decent board position, because now you have a 5/5 and a 3/4 that your opponent has to respond to. And so by drawing out, if Gehenna does have an Equality Consecration, which we know that he does, by drawing it out of his hand, Moosey can now go forward with playing a Gadgets and Auctioneer and maybe going off on that.
Yeah.
Or even playing Shaku as well.
Yeah, definitely see the viability of that. And I'm surprised he isn't wanting to deal with this Questing Adventure. Maybe he also is making the read that Moosey just doesn't have a lot of low-cost cards to be able to, buff up the Questing Adventure big, unlock the Sherazan again, because as we know, he has a bunch of high-value cards, or high-cost cards in his hand at the moment, so...
And I'm getting a little greedy here with the full hand. So he's going to overdraw next turn. So that is something that Moosey might want to keep in mind. He's now going to pick up an SI7 agent, which actually is pretty good here. He could actually get through the Curator without needing to put any more damage on the Questing Adventurer by Razor Petal, SI7, and trade with the Vile Spine. And then he has 4 mana left over to work with.
Yeah. I could also see Shaku SI7 Dagger, just so you keep the Razor Petal for your Auctioneer.
Right.
Although you are really, really opening yourself up to a Quality Consecrate.
Yep. But the good thing about it is that Moosey might take the read that he has a Quality Consecration just because he's been holding on to so many cards since the beginning of the game. And Gehenna's also gone through a big number of cards in this deck by only playing really 1 card a turn. So Moosey might take the read that he has some sort of removal in his hand and even if he plays into it, he's still going to push as much damage as he can out of the minions that he has currently on board.
And doing everything to activate the Sherazan? Does he drop? Nope.
Yep.
Missed.
A little off, but he is able to push 11 damage this turn, so that's very big. And that Aldor Peacekeeper gets burned. Definitely not something you're too worried about losing.
Yeah, I'm assuming you just Equality Consecration, and then even you just drop the Rockpool Hunter is probably the better play than a dude.
Yeah. And with that, quality concentration is going to come down. Moosey's not looking at too many cards in hand that he can use.
Exactly. Now that's a really bad position for him, and now he has to deal with a Murloc War Leader into a Gentle Megasaur next turn.
Right. I say Moosey's just going to play the Gadget Stand Auctioneer in order to find more cards to play. He does have 9 mana available to him. With Fan of Knives, he is drawing 2 cards and developing a 4/4.
Yeah, and
So
he
this
has the
does
second Gadget Stand in hand, so it's not that big of a deal that he uses one immediately.
Right. Backstab being picked up. If he really wanted to, he could backstab his own minion, but it looks like he's just going to pass the turn here.
Yeah. I'm assuming he's going to drop the second gadget next turn, because then he's going to
Right.
have the backstab, eviscerate.
But I think we... Oh, okay, guess he's not. Primordial Drake, pretty good here.
Can't argue with that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, now he's going to
Oh
have
yeah,
the
this
swing
is
turn to get everything
yeah, this
back
is
on
much
track.
definitely a better turn. Oh, what he could also do here is he could hallucinate and find like a Blessing of Might or a Blessing of Kings to buff up the Primal Fin Champion to get a
that'd
Blessing
be
of Kings back into his hand.
insane. The value from that.
Oh my god. It's too damn high. All right. Backstab. There's a Swashbuckler.
That's another
he's
pretty
going
good
to-
card.
Yep.
It's potentially
agree.
good. Let me rephrase that. Potentially good card.
Sap. There's definitely something you don't want to do.
Dino
Dino
size.
size.
Gotta go for it.
Oh man, go big or go home, Moosey. Come on, man.
I mean,
mean,
that could actually be a finisher for him, though.
yeah.
If
Most
he
of the
doesn't
time,
believe
like-
he's gonna be able to.
Yeah. Most of the time, rogues have a very hard time of finding that last bit of damage here, so he's gonna pick up that swap. He's gonna pick up that the Silver Moon Portal. Eviscerate
Not the
still in
dino
hand.
size. All right.
Swashbuckler. Let's see what he gets.
Swashbuckler, and then you just
Gonna pick up Lost in the Jungle. Looks like he's just going to sap away the 4/6 and draw another card. There's a prep. But what's really funny is that he can play Primal Fin Champion, Silver Moon Portal, the Primal Fin Champion, and have a 3/4 and another 2/2. And plus he can prep the Silver Moon Portal as well.
Yeah, he's gonna be pushing a lot of damage. So if he
Yeah.
drops the Primordial Drake again, he still has the Auctioneer up and the Sherazan up.
Right.
Trying to count damage right now. He has to get through 8. So he'll be close to being.
He'll need to
push.
find his second Eviscerate.
Yeah,
That's what he'll need
or
to
a
do.
second sap
Right.
with this would end up being game.
Right. And he has a lot of spells in hand, so definitely Moosey developing the first Gadget Stand Auctioneer when he did was definitely a good option, just because Moosey had already seen so many of his minions that he's definitely has a good amount of his spells left. Ragnaros,
Light Lord for
and
big heal
Hydrologist.
plus.
Ooh, probably Redemption? Maybe Noble Sacrifice? Yeah, it has to be
those
Redemption.
all aren't the best options. I feel like you wanted either Getaway Kodo. I guess Redemption's okay. But
Redemption has to be the pick. Okay, Noble Sacrifice. Never mind.
just a tank. Well, assuming it'll be 1 damage if he,
Right.
orders correctly with attacking with the dagger.
We have
There's the
2
second prep.
preps. Oh no. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna start the ball rolling. Let's go. Lost in the Jungle. Where's Yogg-Saron?
I feel like you prep the Silver Moon Portal first.
Right. Okay. I could see
prep,
that.
Draw a card,
And we're
see what,
buffing.
see what happens.
Right. I guess we have to buff up the Gadget Stand Auctioneer here, right?
Yeah, that's what I was assuming. Buff the
Yeah.
Gadget Sand. As
Yep.
cool as it would be to buff the Primal Fin Champion. things
It's
the
never
right
gonna
way.
happen.
Yeah, and definitely trade first to re-get it online at the end of the turn.
Mhm. So here's the first prep. Here we go. Gotta get the ball rolling. Prep number 1, Edwin Van Cleef. There he is.
Oh,
All right, we're
boy.
gonna Silver Moon Portal the 1/1 so we can trade into Ragnaros. And we're gonna get. Oh, that's actually pretty good.
He does have
Alright.
to be careful. He only has 7 cards left. He is really close to running
Ooh, yeah, you're right. Vile Spine Slayer. Here comes Lost in the Jungle. Backstab is also being picked up as well.
out. I think he's just going for the huge Edwin play.
Yeah, he just has to go for the massive Edwin here. He ran out of time, so we're gonna have
Oh,
to
he
see the
definitely-
very ends of his turn here.
Should have
Lost
gotten
in the
everything
Jungle.
off.
Counterfeit coin. Draw a card, Mimic Pod. All right. Plays Eviscerates the face. Arcane Giant. Oh my lord.
Oh no, his Mimic Paw's not going to hit anything because he has only one card left. But that's going to be game because he has no way to answer.
Yeah, he has to play Noble Sacrifice here and hope that Moosey just doesn't have
Noble
anything.
Sack plus Primordial Drake. But we see a Vile Spine Slayer in hand, which is going to be the game. That, he lost Aldor Peacekeeper. He lost the Aldor Peacekeeper on the overdraw.
And it all came down to that overdraw he did on turn 8.
That's a huge game changer, because if he could Aldor the 16/16, he could probably stabilize with...
Yeah. He would need to Aldor and then play maybe the Stampeding Kodo and then Noble Sacrifice. That would be his line of play, and he would still be alive.
Wow.
All right.
I'm out of cards.
All right, so Moosey's out of cards. There's another Arcane Giant.
And he's
trying to fit coin. Just a bit of BM.
It's only BM if he drops both Arcane Giants. Or he does enough spells to get him down to like 1 health.
Right. All right, so Noble Sacrifice is going to be procced with the... And after that, that's going to be game 1. Going over to Moosey here with his Miracle Rogue.
And we are back.
All right, we are back. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. We do have the... We do have what I'm going to assume is a mid-range hunter against Jade Druid here from Moosey. Albadogs took a big gamble here with Moosey playing that Hungry Crab on turn 1. If it had turned out that Moosey was an aggro Druid deck, that would have been a very, very big mistake. Are we playing Nourish this turn? I think we're just playing Nourish, yeah? Just drawing 3 cards?
No, you'd need the ramp if you're gonna Nourish now.
Oh no, he's gonna Jade Spirit. Okay.
Also, you're gonna need to fill me in on what Albadogs' cards are. The little spectator bug will not let me see. So.
All right. So Scavenging Hyena, Crackling Razor Maw, Savannah Highmane, and Kill Command. Scavenging Hyena was just picked up. It might actually be a decent board for the Scavenging Hyena here. He does get 2 procs, and that might force a removal out of Moosey.
But a good Razor Maw target with the Death Rattle to always is a nice one. Looking for what, 3 attack?
Nah, we're looking for Poisonous here. That's going to be the pickup. That's exactly what you want to be getting out of your
Timely
Grandmother.
Oh
no!
That's what I like seeing. Thank you, Lucy, for dropping the Yogg.
Oh my gosh.
So
okay,
this
well,
turn, do you just Wrath for 1 on the 3/2?
I mean, the swipe is very, very good here, just because it's a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
And being able to set up for maybe a Wrath or a Nourish next turn is pretty good for you as well.
Is he gonna go?
I think Moosey is taking the read that he doesn't really have a lot of gas on Albadog's side since he played a 2-drop on turn 3. Where on Hunter, your turn 3 is usually really, really great. So
gets rewarded. Jade Spirit for on-curve play.
Yep. And it looks like Albadogs might just play Jeweled Macaw here and look for a 3-drop.
Silverback Patriarch?
Nope. It's Pantry Spider.
Close. Hey, that's a 3-drop. That's flooding.
I mean, yeah, it's a 3-drop, but I don't know if that's the 3-drop you want to be looking for. But it is better than nothing. It is 2 beasts that you can play. That you can play into Scavenging Hyena.
I was about to say, it's actually important that he doesn't play Fandral right here, because then if he plays the Jade Spirit, the 1/3s won't be able to trade. But with this, he can play Scavenging Hyena, get all 3 trades.
And then Kill Command if he wants to.
And Kill Command.
And finish it off.
That would, I mean, yeah, what's Jade Druid supposed to do about that? That'll be plus.
The other thing is to consider that maybe Kill Command wants to be saved for maybe something a little worse. But it looks like he's just going to Kill Command it right off the bat and play the Scavenging Hyena and go face for 3. I don't 100% agree with this play because you could have just gotten a little bit greedy and traded away your minions. But in this way, you kind of keep the Druid from getting any sort of clear trades.
Yeah,
because if he had done that, he would have gotten only +3 health. So
yeah, but you would have had +3 health but +6 attack, so it would have been an
Right.
8/5. Druid has no single target removal, and so
Right.
that's that would have just been
Mm-hmm.
a game changer no matter what he played.
I
But
think the other thing to consider is that Albadogs only really has that one other kill command and maybe a deadly shot in his deck. So
mhm,
keeping the minions on board means that if his opponent plays anything, that he can respond to it with the minions on board and get more value out of the Scavenging Hyena. And
yeah,
I think it's pretty clear what card we're going to be playing here is. It's 100% Savannah Highmane every single time.
sure.
There it
Doctor
is,
Six, Doctor Six is coming out.
Doctor Six.
I
Oh
mean,
man.
I don't. You have to Jade Behemoth here, but or you could Jade Spirit plus double Jade Idol to just start pumping up Jade.
So you don't want to double Jade Idol. You usually want to save the next Jade Idol for or he's just gonna go ahead
Yeah,
and
see,
make
I would normally agree with you. Yes, you always want to go infinite, but you need the tempo of those Jades, or else
right.
you're just gonna lose on board. The only
Yeah, but
problem is
the
this is
reason
such
I'm a
of a
little bit
huge
hesitant
hyena.
here is that it's very easy for Albadogs to respond to this board and just make a Scavenging Hyena that's just out of control. And we're seeing him trade specifically for this top deck here. Granted, I don't
Understands?
know how well
Oh,
Moosey could have traded around it, but this is just way too good for Albadogs to ignore here. And he has an animal companion on top of that. Like this could be very, very close to lethal here. Actually, you know what? It is lethal. It's just 16 plus 6.
sticking with the Druid
All
versus
right.
the
Yep.
Mage. So let's see what variant
Yep.
of Mage he's going to play.
Oh yeah, this is very easily the control mage. I'm gonna
There it
take that
is.
read.
Yep, the control secret mage.
All right.
Pretty decent start for the mage. Keep having a archaeologist in in your turn 2 play is really simple,
Yep.
but nothing to back it up after that. So
Yep.
he's gonna need some good draws.
Oh no,
I mean,
that's an
what
awful
you
draw.
really hope you just pick up Kirantor Mage? Is that like the goal?
No, it's whenever you have a card like Arcanologist in your hand, you never want to be actually drawing your secrets. You want to be drawing them off of Arcanologist.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying for his next turn, he wants to draw Kirantor Mage for the
Right.
turn 3 free spell.
Oh yeah, totally. So we're going to coin up to Jade Blossom, make a 1/1, and Jade Spirit is going to be the turn 3 play. So that's definitely very good for Moosey here. Albadogs doesn't really have a
Just
decent turn 3 play.
ice
I think just
block.
pinging the 1/1 and attacking with the 2/3 is definitely very good. I think the big thing you want to watch out for is you don't, especially with the way the meta has been working recently, you don't want to develop secrets like Ice Block early because you don't want to run the risk of your opponent playing an Eater of Secrets.
Gotcha. I don't think we saw any Eater Secrets in the Druid deck, but we didn't get through everything. The last
Right.
game ended on turn 6, so you
Uh-huh.
never know.
So again, Albadog's looking at a very low value plays here. He might just go ahead and get rid of one of the 2/2s here after he pings, but looks
He's
like
probably just
he's
gonna save it to Volcanic Push and like force Moosey to make the trades.
right.
But I could see a Wrath for 1 just to get some cycle in the get some cycle in
Right.
the game.
I think Moosey should take the read that Volcanic Potion is in Albadog's hand, especially since Albadogs did not trade with his Arcanologist.
Yeah.
Like usually when an opponent has the ability to trade and they don't, it's usually because they have some sort of removal in their hand. So by trading away his 2/2 here and killing off the Arcanologist, he can't very easily deal with the Tar Creeper, even if he does have the Volcanic Potion.
Yeah. So we're probably just gonna see a ping on the Tar Creeper.
Yeah.
Ping pass or ping ice block.
Yeah, because the problem here is that you want to be saving your polymorph for either an Aya Blackpaw or an Auctioneer from Moosey, or even a large taunt minion like a Jade Behemoth or Fandral Stagholm. Like there are a lot of targets that you want to save that polymorph for. So using the polymorph on the 3/5 here is not very advantageous for Albadogs. and this is kind of like the issue here of not being able to play something like Medivh's Valet or getting Arcanologist or any of your low cost minions here, is that Albadogs has some very awkward turns. He doesn't really have like a lot of very strong plays to be making on curve. He's just kind of sitting back and waiting. Luckily for him, Moosey doesn't really have a lot of very strong plays to be making in this early portions of the game. So he's pretty okay with just staying back and, you know,
Yeah.
making these having these awkward turns, not really having a lot to do, and just being like, I'm fine, you know, I can just keep moving. He's not being very aggressive.
I was a little surprised that he chose to hero power down the Arcanologist instead of wrathing it for 1, because I feel like right now Moosey wants card draw to cycle more of his deck, and
Right.
so I get the idea of wanting to, armor, hero power, but just feel like that was not the better play, because now he's still like, what's he supposed to do next turn? Gadgets and Earthen Scales?
Gadgets and Earthen Scales has to be the best line of play that he has for turn 7. But the problem is that Albadogs has been sitting on that polymorph since turn 1.
Yeah.
And what he also doesn't know is that Albadogs just picked up a Medivh's Valet. So
well, do you save the Medivh's Valet? Do you just Volcanic Potion ping and then leave a 1/2 up, because Tar Creeper is pretty useless on the offensive side. But
I think developing a 2/3 here is very important, just because it gives you just a little bit more advantage, right? So Moosey can't easily trade with the 2/3 here unless he wants to sacrifice his Jade Spirit, which he doesn't really want to do. He wants to force Albadogs into trading into his 2/2 after he's already gone through the Tar Creeper, and even if he gets the chance to, he might actually just remove it. So
I think
by
Wrath for 1, get the draw out, and then I'd even say Hero Power, because you're not doing anything else with your mana. So...
right. He's looking for maybe an Innervate, maybe another Jade
Oh,
Idol. Nourish is
that's
great.
Game changer.
Yeah, that's huge. Picking up 3 cards here. Oh man, and he picks up an Innervate.
Yeah, so I'm assuming he's gonna just Jade Spirit. I don't think he's gonna go Gadget Sand next turn, but we could be wrong.
Right. So now Albadogs is sitting on his turn 7. Doesn't really have a whole lot of huge plays here. I think what Albadogs needs to watch out for is using his Alexstrasza too early, because the Earthen Scales is very much a relevant card, and now seeing that Feral Rage in Moosey's hand is going to be very hard for him to deal that 15 damage if there is, a lot of armor in the way.
Yeah, but the armor doesn't matter when you Alexstrasza anymore. So like he just needs to get him down as early as possible, right?
All right, so it looks like Moosey's going to go ahead and Feral Rage here. He might also choose to Earthen Scales. He's going to give himself 8 armor. He's going to draw another card. There's a Jade Blossom. Earthen Scales is going to go on to the 4/4, making it a 5/5. He's going to put himself at 13 armor. That's going to make it very, very hard for Albadogs to kill him immediately if he goes for the Alexstrasza play. Once again, Moosey
like
just wants this
Fireball plus Primordial Glyph to check out what you can get.
Right. I think the other line of play is to use Meteor, just because Meteor can't go face, but
that's true.
And even it's easy. Moosey's minions are aligned perfectly for the Meteor here. He's going to go ahead and Firelands Portal instead. And I think that's definitely.
Agree with you. I think the Meteor is the better play, because Firelands Portal and all those other burn cards can go face, like you just said.
Right.
Which is a very, very important difference compared to the other two. So, just Jade Blossom, Jade Spirit.
Yeah, it has to be. Playing the Wild Growth here is not as important as playing the Jade Blossom, and they do basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So by being able to develop a 4/4 and a 5/5 is definitely very good.
And you can either Hero Power or Wild Growth to save the empty mana crystal in case you get another auctioneer. But
and I think the big thing here is that you want to, once you hit 10 mana, you want to hold on to Wild Growth for your big auctioneer turns so that you can go infinite.
Yeah.
And I think that's Moosey's gameplay at this point.
You can get the huge armor gain. You go infinite and then you just drop it on like a 10-10, 11-11. That's the best way to come back. But classic Flame Strike on a board to get rid of a lot of minions.
An oldie but goodie. Primordial Drake going to come down here. Probably
I'm assuming
Wrath to follow it up.
Do you I still think you Wrath for cards right here. Like, you need to get more of your deck.
I think the thing here is that it's you already can trade with the 4/4 here, so unless you take the read that your opponent has like a big removal spell for your 4/8, which we know Albadogs has, like even wrathing the Streetwise Investigator doesn't really do anything. It looks like he's just going to Wild Growth into the excess mana and hold on to the excess mana for when he draws his Gadgets and auction.
Yeah, so what is this? I'm assuming you go Mana Worm into...
I bring life.
I'm very
All right,
surprised that he's keeping this 4/8 alive. I would assume that you would have Mana Worm, Meteor, and then just Alex draws the next turn.
Right, Fandral Staghelm.
That's huge with... So you Fandral, you Wrath for 4, plus a card, and you could probably swipe to finish off. Yeah, there you go. That clears the entire board.
So the other thing to note is that he does get Fandral, he does get value out of the Feral Rage as well, which is what he might play just because his opponent has already played Alexstrasza. So by giving yourself more armor, you make it harder and harder for him to deal with. Innervate Jade Idol seems pretty good.
Yeah, do you innervate the Jade?
The big problem here is that if you use Innervate and Jade Idol, you really don't get the chance to use that with your Auctioneer. This is the second Innervate, and Mirth and Scales is definitely very good here. Jade Idol being able to make a 6/6 and shuffle 3 more copies into the deck is something that you don't want to ignore in terms of the amount of power that you can get out of it. So it's definitely a very good play.
The dangerous thing
spending
is
2 cards might not be the best thing you want to do, especially since there's a Gadget and Auctioneer still left in the deck. But
yeah. I was actually very surprised that he used the Earth and Scales, because that's your last form, other than the Feral Rage, of getting a ton of armor. And so I would have assumed that he would have saved that to go later. Because if he saves it to go later, he uses it on a much bigger Jade to get a lot more armor. Because now he's capped at getting 8 more armor, and then that's it. All he can do is just put more Jades on the board.
Right. I think it's also important to note that we've seen about half of Albadogs' deck here, and we haven't seen an Archmage Antonidas. And I think that's the big thing. If Albadogs really doesn't have Archmage Antonidas, then there's really no way to deal with Moosey's large amount of armor gain and how much he's going to go outside of Albadogs' range in terms of the amount of power that he's going to have on board.
Yeah. Also, did a good job of positioning against the Meteor Strike with the 3/5 in the middle.
All right, looks like that's going to be the play here. He's going to get rid of the 7/7 and deal a little bit of damage. That's the Volcanic Potion. Problem is he just can't get through the 4/5 here, so he's just going to trade it and get through the next turn. Nourish being picked up here. That's definitely going to be played. That's going to draw 3 cards. All right, Primordial Drake, Jade Idol, and a Jade Behemoth.
I'm assuming just Jade Idol Hero Power. Get a little more armor in the life.
Yep. I mean, right now, Moosey is sitting pretty good at 33, so he doesn't really need to force anything. He doesn't need to be super aggressive. His opponent needs 33 points of damage, and it's very hard to get chip damage in with no minions on board and a taunt minion in the way. So, all right, Silence, Renounce Darkness. So, funny thing about this is that you can actually change your hero power to be like Hunter hero power, which might be useful. And you can replace the other Cabal Courier that's in your deck with a different card, with possibly a Hunter card.
One Hunter card.
Yeah. Arcane Explosion is going to be the pickup, though. Not the greatest of cards here, but it can be comboed with the board currently as it is. You can Fireball the 7/7 and then Arcane Explosion to get rid of both minions. But once again, he's spending at least 6 cards. He's spending 3 cards to get rid of 2 minions on the board. So it's really not in his favor.
Yeah, I was expecting maybe he also just saved it for in case that he did have the Archmage Antonidas like you were talking about.
Oh, there he is.
All right, let's.
We were waiting for him.
Now, are the memes gonna come out when he has lethal? That's the question.
That is a real big question, isn't it? So Moosey's gonna go ahead and he's just going to put a little bit just more chip damage into the life total of Albadogs here, and Firelands Portal is going to be the card picked up, and it's still not enough. Like he's looking for 34 points of damage, and we have yet to see anything that. Ooh.
Well, that's gonna help out a lot. I feel.
Oh
like...
yeah.
Well, Fireball's the
Well,
clear
I
pick,
guess
'cause
you
you
have to,
need
yeah,
the
you
burn.
definitely have to pick a Fireball here.
Yeah.
Albadox is running low on the amount of damage that he can do to Moosey's face here.
Do you polymorph the
The
Primordial
4-8?
Drake?
I don't think so. Because there's really no need to. Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
I think you just save the polymorph for after Medivh now that you've drawn him.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you get more minions, especially since you have Firelance Portal in hand. Yeah, he's just going to go ahead and Frostbolt it. I think he's more so going for the freeze more so than the damage.
Yeah.
This way, it sets up for Firelance Portal to be played. Aya Blackpaw. Wow, that's a huge card. That is an 8/8 that's going to... She summons an 8/8 and then Death Rattles into a 9/9. That is so much damage.
Yeah, well, at this point, you just Medivhs and you Eater of Secrets Tecton for the mirror matchup, I see.
Yeah,
What
seems
do you...
like it.
Medivh's Guardian into Fireball, and you Fireball the
Yeah.
face. Like, at this point, you go all face, and then you have a couple more turns to stabilize.
Yeah. The big problem here is that Moosey kind of put himself in a position that he can't reduce his opponent down to 1 with damage on the board. So
Yeah.
in order to do that, what he needs to, if he wants to put his opponent at 1, he needs his opponent to play a minion. Then he attacks with Aya Blackpaw and the Primordial Drake. He attacks, brings him down to 9. He hero powers, swipes the face, puts him down to 2, and then attacks with the 8/8. But he has to spend so many cards in order to do that. Granted, it sets up Yogg-Saron pretty well, but I don't know if you want to be playing Yogg-Saron with an ice block up from your opponent. All right, so here's the Fireball to the face. This is going to deal 6 damage, make it 2/2. It's also a 7/7 on Bard. Okay. In terms of minions, not what you want to be seeing. In terms of 2 drops, it's probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, on average, it's solid.
Yeah.
So you clear Medivh and you pop him, but next turn for Albadogs, you have the Firelance Portal and Ice Block, so you're basically getting one more shot into the Pyroblast before you end up, biting the dust to the Shade Druid.
Yep.
Because he has 15 damage in hand, plus whatever he gets off Atiesh.
Yep.
So he's still 13 damage off, plus we see a Feral Rage to boost it up even more if he feels so inclined.
Yep. So Aya Blackpaw is going to trade into the 2/3 here and face for 8. He's going to hero power him down to 3. Right, he's going to pop the block. So this forces Albadogs to have two very clear plays, but it's going to be hard for him to deal with it. He has to develop another ice block if he wants to survive another turn, and then he has to play Firelance Portal in order to remove the 4/5. Yeah. So he is going to take 7 damage off the board, make 3 minions, and protect himself. So it's not the worst of turns, but he still needs to get through 29 points of damage, and he's not going to be able to play the Pyroblast in order to get a 10 drop. So not being able to get the Deathwing here. So let's see what he's got. Show me what you got. I like what you got. Ooh. Definitely not one of... Oh, and a pretty bad 3-drop to go along with it. Giant Anaconda, not exactly what you want to be seeing here. But here's the thing. You could get Moosey to not trade with the 5/3 and just leave it up, because he could be worried that he drops an Archmage Antonidas, which means that he needs to then trade again.
Yeah, but he has enough, like, between Swipe and Feral Rage.
Honestly, it doesn't matter, because, he has an 8/8 and a 9/9 on board and still has lethal, but still something to consider. Yeah. Playing an Archmage Antonidas for free instead of 7 is pretty good.
I think you still Feral Rage for armor just as the insurance policy.
Yeah. Just in case your opponent has some freaky combo of multiple molten reflections and Arcane Antonitis.
Yeah.
All right,
And
so
there it
Albadox is
is.
going to be conceding. That's going to be game 3, going over to Moosey and his Jade Druid. The important thing is not letting your opponent run away with the board, because your board clears are very, very valuable. And it's also important to note that I think Moosey might be on the aggro plan, in which case the aggro plan is trying to get through as much damage as you can without giving your opponent the opportunity to remove your minions.
A
And that's
pretty
really the
solid
play.
start.
Yeah, and with Murloc Tidecolor and Hydrologist, it's pretty good for you. With Gehenna having Aldor Peacekeeper and Murloc Tidecall War Leader makes his next couple of turns just a little bit awkward. Looks like Moosey's going to go ahead and coin out a Hydrologist here so he can play Murloc Tidecaller with the Secret, which might actually be a better line of play, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, because if he just plays the Tidecaller, then if Gehenna has any Murloc, he gets a free trade, or
Right.
the value trade.
And it has to be Noble Sacrifice here. It absolutely does. Ooh, he's going to go for Redemption instead.
Technically,
I was going to say Noble Sacrifice just because if he keeps the Murloc Tidecaller out and he buffs it up, then, Murloc, you protect your own Murloc Tidecaller, but it looks like he's just going to go with going face here. So, Ragnaros Light Lord. So, I was wrong. This is just a mid-range Paladin mirror match. I think Moosey just goes ahead and plays Redemption to go along with his Murloc Tidecaller.
takes the value
I feel
trade.
like either way of you getting a 1/1 or a 2/1 off of the Redemption, I think you're still fairly happy.
The only difference is with Redemption, if the Murloc dies, it comes back and buffs the Tidecaller.
Yep. Tidecaller is going to be a 2/2 now, so it's going to be a little bit harder to deal with. Gehenna has a couple lines of play that he can do, but both of them feel pretty awkward against this board. Right, so he's going to put that Tidecaller back to 1, and there's a Rockpool Hunter. He's definitely going to buff up his Hydrologist and kill the 3/3 here.
Yep. And then next turn, if Gehenna doesn't do anything, he can just drop the Gentle Megasaur and really take care of business. But with a True Silver Champion in hand, we're probably going to see that take out the Tidecaller.
Yep.
Now, do you still Gentle Megasaur anyways?
It really depends on what you draw. Yeah, okay. So playing the Gentle Megasaur is very good here because it is just an on-value, just a very good minion. Divine Shield is not exactly what you want to be getting for your Murlocs, but it's still very, very good just because it makes it hard to trade into and remove them here.
So I'm assuming he's going to
also
play Stonehill Defender, make sure he trades the True Silver into the Megasaur.
Yep. Gentle, this gives him a lot better options, and this looks almost exactly like the pick that we saw before.
Yeah, it was just
And it has to
Wrathion
be
instead of Lord of the Arena, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a 6-mana taunt, a Frostwolf Grunt, and a Grime Street Protector.
Yeah,
I still
goes
think you
with
should
the
have gone with the
6-mana
Grime Street
taunt.
Protector. Yeah. I still think you should have gone with the Grime Street Protector. I might be overvaluing the card, but I still feel like having that battle cry that gives the adjacent minions Divine Shield is nothing to be ignored.
Yeah, that only works when you have board control, though.
Right.
So if he feels like he's not going to be able to get that, then taking just an on-curve 6-drop is probably the better play for the current situation, you know what I mean?
Right. And interesting enough, Moosey's not going to push 2 damage to the face. He is just going to pop the 1/1 there. Lord of the Arena is going to be dropped. The gates are open. So Moosey has 2 lines of play here. He has a couple. Actually, he has one very clear line of play, which is Aldor Peacekeeper, Biofin Inquisitor, and Hero Power, and then clear away the Lord of the Arena with the weapon hit and the Rockpool Hunter.
Yeah, the only other play he could have thought of was
Or he could go
dropping
like this.
a bunch of dudes and then tanking a lot more damage instead of having an Aldor.
Right. So I'm going to amend my line of play and say that Moosey's line of play was better because it does make him less weak to Consecration.
I mean, do you just Consecration and then...
Yeah, I mean, it's your only line of play, and then next turn, whatever's left, you can just play Primordial Drake.
Yeah. He's gonna need... Well, what is he gonna want? Getaway Kodo?
Getaway Kodo is a little odd here, mostly because even if, like, the worst card to get back is the Vilefen Inquisitor,
Uh-huh.
out of the other two, you definitely want to get back. But I don't know actually which card Getaway Kodo
Yeah,
gives
but what
you.
if you just save it, don't use it, and then wait for Rag Light Lord? Or you take Repentance, assuming that he's gonna drop an 8-drop. And if he doesn't drop an 8-drop, then he basically wastes a turn not developing a big creature, right?
Right.
So Repentance could actually be the play because it'll force him to play around it by playing War Leader.
Yep.
Which
And it
then
looks like
doesn't
Moosey
put
agrees with you.
Tyrion-
He's going to pick up that Repentance.
Yeah, no Tyrion, Rag, or Primordial Drake can come down without them being severely, just,
Right.
into...
And if he plays a Murloc War Leader to play around it, like, he's just making a very low value play, and Moosey's perfectly okay with that. Here comes the Repentance. That's going to shoot him down to 1 health.
The only thing is with the War Leader, when he picked up the Rockpool Hunter, that was actually an okay play, just because you had the War Leader Rockpool Hunter into a dude, which would have played around that okay, but...
Alright, looks like Moosey's going to get that double hero power. Develop a few minions here. Once again, still Gehenna not looking too great. He does have that Tyrion Ford Ring. He does have that Ragnaros in hand, so he does have a couple big dudes. I think you just play Rag here, to be completely honest.
Rag to heal, or do you want Tyrion to start, getting the weapon out?
That is another consideration. I think Ragnaros is just a little better here, just because you don't want to be using your life as a resource, especially when you're close to below half.
That's fair.
When you're so close to half already. And plus, like, Moosey's gonna have to use an equality in order to get to the Ragnaros anyway. No one plays big game hunter anymore, so Lay on Hands gonna be picked up from Moosey here. Not exactly what he wants to be seeing.
I feel like you still have to equality and then just play a dude and pass your turn, which is the saddest thing ever.
Yeah. I mean, the big problem here is that if he plays the equality, he doesn't really have any answers in hand to deal with Tyrion Ford Ring. So if he does do the equality play, he ends up just not being able to do anything after Tyrion is played, and he probably might lose the game off of that, to be completely honest. Lay on Hands not getting the full amount of value out of the heal, but Sunkeeper Tarim is definitely a very, very good card in this spot.
Yeah.
Ooh. Gehenna has a pretty great line of play here, and he's going to go ahead with it. He's going to play that Rockpool Hunter, make another 4/4. He's going to play that Gentle Megasar. He's going to give him probably Death Rattle 2 plants.
Just to play around the
Yep.
Consecration. But yeah, but now also whenever you have War Leader out there, Quality Consecration does not even stop it because it keeps all your Murlocs buffed.
Yep. Pool Hunter being picked up from Moosey here. He can make sort of the same line of play here and play Rockpool Hunter and Murloc War Leader, but he doesn't really have a whole lot after that. He might play the Elder Peacekeeper and Hero Power. It does give him a lot of minions on board and force something out of Gehenna, but at the same time, he really doesn't have any way of trading with his opponent's minions. So he might actually have to play the equality here, kill the Ragnaros, kill the 5/4, or kill the Ragnaros and kill the War Leader.
Or you Sunkeeper Tarim by using Hero Power plus Rockpool Hunter. You get 4 minions to counter his 4 minions, and you get to clear off his big ones.
Right. I think the other line of play is wait until after Sunkeeper Tarim and then buff your minions.
Yeah.
You miss out on
only
1/3/3.
+1.
Yeah. And you do get to keep 1 minion on board. So by trading into the Ragnaros and the War Leader here, is you take a lot of damage off the board. So all right. So Gehenna now looking at his hand, he still does have the Tyrion Ford Ring and the equality, so equality might still be the play here.
Or you just drop Tyrion, do the double trade, and you kill the 4/1. You get a decent amount of... Nope.
Yep. By playing, I don't know how I feel about the Murloc Tidecaller, but being able to trade into Sunkeeper Terran without giving up too many resources means that you get to trade with the rest of the board and also maintain board presence. The problem is that you're a little weak to Consecration, but at
Or
this stage in the
Primordial
game,
Drake
I don't
off
think
the
it really
top.
matters. I think Moosey's line of play is definitely Ragnaros and Hero Power.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could do double War Leader plus a dude, but that's also pretty weak because the War Leaders will die on board, and then
Yeah.
you can just drop a Tyrion.
Yeah. So playing Ragnaros might just be the play here, and he does heal up to full. And this looks like a standard mirror match where both players are just at full health and they're just kind of dropping huge minions and hoping the opponent doesn't have removal for it.
Yeah, the only difference is Gehenna's already used one of the War Leaders, so in the late game matchup, if they're out of all the gas, Moosey's going to have much more powerful hero powers with the War Leaders than Gehenna is.
Right. I think something interesting to note here is that Gehenna can double hero power, and this allows him to might be able to trade in with the Tidecaller here. So yeah, he gets 1, then he gets 3 attack. He's going to get 4 attack. He's going to get 5 attack and still be 1 damage off killing Rag.
I definitely thought Tyrion was the better play, but
Yeah, I definitely thought so too.
I think maybe he miscounted and got...
Yeah. Ooh, the Curator is so good here.
Such a good reload.
Yeah, wow, okay. Picks up Stampeding Kodo and Primordial Drake. Definitely not the beast you want to be seeing, but definitely still very good. Elder Peacekeeper going to come down and just reduce that Tidecaller back to 1 attack. And then the question is, do you trade?
I probably would trade with the Rag, but I'm actually surprised that he traded that way. I would have traded with the 1/2 just because it has the better potential to get bigger. But looking at the 2 decks, Moosey is much farther along. He only has 9 cards. Not really close to any fatigue status that he has to worry about. And so I'm assuming it's just going to be Hero Power Tyrion. Unless he wants to lay on hands to try and pick up his own Sunkeeper.
Right. It's just very hard to see how Gehenna gets himself out of this. Because, like, even if he does lose the Tyrion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the best case scenario is that you just have Tyrion's bubble popped for the next turn.
I feel like this, you just Primordial Drake and then trade with your Curator.
Yeah, that is probably... Yep, and he's going to drop the Primordial Drake and clear the whole board here.
Yeah,
Set up a taunt minion so that his opponent can't trade into Ragnaros, and he's going to push 8 to the face.
Yeah, plus Ragnaros heals itself because he already has full health.
Is the only friendly character that's damaged. Gehenna does have a very good value lay on hands here, and that's at least some sort of solace.
Yeah,
and it
he's
does
gonna
get to
need
go through his deck.
Equality plus Primordial, Equality Consecrate, one of the 2 to start clearing these.
Does pick up a Spike Ridge Steed here, which is nothing to be scoffed at. But I don't know if he wants to play a Naked Rockpool Hunter, if that's worth it.
I mean, it's that or Hero Power. I don't think he really has a choice.
Right.
But either way, it's not feeling good because he's losing on board, so Sunkeeper Terran doesn't even really help what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it does sort of help considering the fact that he will be able to trade with the Primordial Drake and then the Ragnaros. You know, buffing up the 1/1 isn't the worst of your problems at this point.
Double War Leader into Megasaur?
Yeah, that seems good. Yeah.
Seems
Especially
alright.
after your opponent's already played a couple equalities and a consecration. I think you're perfectly fine to just go ham.
Divine Shield.
Oh man,
I'm
living
assuming
volcanic
Might,
might. It has to be volcanic might. Oh, living spores. Okay, that's fine too.
Playing around
But
the
now
AoE.
I mean, you have lethal at this point. Your opponent has to have equality consecration.
Yeah.
Hydrologist.
Sadly, Hydrologist
Okay,
will
so
not pull a big
if
enough secret.
you play hydrologist and get a secret, okay, getaway Kodo
Eye for an
probably.
Eye for an eye. Bait him into buffing up one of those into 30 damage and then have him attack with that.
Yeah. So getaway Kodo is probably the grab here. And we're going to play a Spike Ridge Steed buffing the 2/2. And that still doesn't really do anything because your opponent plays a stampeding Kodo on the Stegadon that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of just has lethal on board no matter what he does with equality
Yeah.
and Stampeding Kodo in hand.
Right.
So this is looking like StonyBrook is going to take this 3-1 over Boston University
Right.
when he gets it to be his turn, and that will lead up into a matchup that we've seen a couple times before with UT
Yep.
Austin against StonyBrook University for the finals.
Yep. There's the title hand, and here comes the Spike Ridge Steed as a last-ditch effort to keep himself in the game. That's a 4/8 in the way of a lot of minions of Moosie's, but I don't even think he needs to play. I don't even think he needs to play equality here. He just attacks, plays the Stampeding Kodo, gets rid of the 2/6, and
Oh,
that is going to
50-50.
be a
It's a
15,
50-50.
24 points of damage. Oh no!
Was a mistake.
Oh no! Does he still have lethal?
No,
No, he doesn't.
he's technically
Oh
yellow.
no! Oh no, he has to
Oh,
equality, yeah? Yeah,
it
he
is
has to
lethal with
equality.
Never mind.
Yep, and that's 20 points of damage.
Yep.
That's gonna be lethal. That's the game. Those are the big attacks. That's going to be it's going to be Moosie taking the win over Boston University.